Hello everyone. My name is Strange, and I believe that people should know the truth. Do you fly often? Do you often think about the real nature of plane crashes? I have another secret file from the Medium project in my hands now. This time we will talk about airplanes, as you already understood, or rather. But you will find out everything soon. Do not forget, in the playlist section, Project Medium, you will find many other very interesting and very scary stories. And I want to warn you, if you don't want to lose a restful sleep forever, then turn off this video and move on in the dark. For the safety of my source, all names have been changed, and the secret data has been given in artistic color. And so I'm starting. The flight was ordinary, one might even say routine boring. A young, broad-shouldered man leaned back in a chair by the porthole, his hand constantly slipping off the armrest. A plump woman sat next to her, who smelled of sweat. She tried to drape her scent with a horse dose of perfume, which eventually created an unbearable bouquet. The man shivered. He began to feel sick. He always endured flights badly, although he was used to them as much as possible. It's okay in a few more hours in Washington, and there you can set foot on the native land of Washington Dulles International Airport. Take a half-hour taxi to Fenway Park and get a good night's sleep. The man looked thoughtfully through the double glass. Seeing his blurred reflection, it was quiet in the cabin. Everyone was dozing. Only the noise of powerful aircraft engines was a measured hum in his ears. Muffled beeping flashes were sometimes heard in the general hum. Somewhere nearby, a boy was playing on a portable console. The man once again looked disapprovingly at the woman snoring next door. No, well, does she brush her teeth at all? She also turned her head specifically to me. The best thing now is to turn away, get as comfortable as possible, and get another hour's sleep. Be patient, Benny, be patient. It's going to end soon. Suddenly, the plane began to shake, at first with light ripples, and then more and more. The passengers began to wake up, excitedly looking out the portholes. Suddenly, the general lighting turned on, and a few moments later, a child's crying was heard. The man clutched the armrest with sweaty palms in an instant and felt in his gut how the plane began to descend. It's okay, we're just going down before landing. There was a slight noise of the radio, and the friendly tone of the chief pilot sounded in the cabin. The senior stewardess stood in her regular place and smiled. If you looked closely, you could see her lower lip trembling slightly. Dear passengers. After these words, the man felt relieved. Well, that's right, we're just starting to decrease. But the pilot continued. We are entering a thunderstorm front. There is no reason to worry. Slight turbulence is possible. Fasten your seat belts and bring the seats to a strictly vertical position. Remove the folding tables. The man turned back to the window. What the hell is a thunderstorm front? It's just pitch black everywhere. No clouds. Nothing. Suddenly, something happened that made all the passengers on the starboard side cling to the portholes and freeze in surprise and fear. A huge flash of light was approaching the plane, as if a large ball had been released from a catapult. Slowly but inevitably, the lights in the plane went out. It became quiet. No one at that moment realized that the engines had simply failed. Someone screamed. At that moment, the man felt like everything inside was going up, as if in an elevator when he abruptly went down. The plane began to fall. Incident summary, operational log of a Washington Dulles International radar station employee. June 24, 2017. At 01:27 after midnight, flight number U-239, flight Zurich, Washington, disappeared from radar. The preliminary reason is the failure of electronic and digital controllers, autopilot. 100 kilometers from Washington, in the Annapolis area of Maryland, a military helicopter landed directly on a clearing in a sparse forest belt. Two people got out of the helicopter. The first was John Watowicz, a strong, tall, elderly man in jeans and a black shirt tucked under his belt, a pistol holster on his side, followed by Stephen Sanders, the right-hand man and assistant, the best operative of the Special Investigations Department, jumped out of the helicopter. Two chest holsters were well fitted to his chest under a black denim jacket, and he wore the same black glasses on his face. Two special agents went to the crash site. Everything was not going according to plan. The territory was cordoned off. Specialists and soldiers of the National Guard were working. There were just not enough of these weasels here. Paramilitary civilians, as Watowicz called them to himself, amateurs, would trample down all traces and disfigure everything. And then they would tell their wives in bed about the heroics of the scene. Damn. Stephen, where did the signal come from? The operative adjusted his baseball cap. The crew of the aircraft conducted radio communication with the radar station of the airfield. How our intelligence has worked out. The case is abnormal. Yeah. How did these assholes get here before us? Watowicz pointed at 3 National Guardsmen who, with the help of a crane and God's help, were trying to lift a hefty fragment with the hole of a broken porthole. The plane crash. Eyewitnesses from the locals were the first to report it. The National Guard was mobilized on alert. You understand everything, John. Yes, everything is as usual. Listen, Stephen, give them the eldest. Take them straight to the helicopter. I'll be there. Find out if you can get at least a cup of coffee somewhere here. Our technicians will arrive in an hour. That's right, sir. Radio exchange. Altitude of 10,000 meters. After 12 minutes, we begin to descend. Fly over the mainland.
Board U-239. Switch to manual control. We are preparing to receive you.
Fix it. Presumably a thunderstorm front. I see multiple flashes of light along the front.
Wait, we're clarifying.
The flashes are approaching the board. No. More flashes of light and a plane crash. This is not the first case. This has happened before. It is required to conduct a thorough investigation and find out all the circumstances. Maybe it's true that the plane hit a thunderstorm front and the possibility of contact with a ball lightning was not excluded. But Watowicz felt with his gut that this was their case. In addition, a detailed weather report was requested. No thunderstorms were planned either on that day or a week before or a week ahead. Clear summer sky. Watowicz looked out the window of the helicopter, the cabin of which was equipped for long flights, a bunk bed, a table, chairs fixed to the floor. There was even a bio-toilet, a small shower, and a microwave. Overboard, 3 men were pushing 2 gurneys in front of them, on which were black bags filled with contents, corpses, or the remains of corpses. The helicopter doors swung open. Sir, may I? I brought the commander of the 12th National Guard Company. A fat man in a military uniform without insignia entered the helicopter. A black bandana was on his head. His eyes were hidden under dark glasses, and a deckman almost smoked cigar was in his mouth. It's like a Texas Ranger in Washington. Watowicz didn't want to waste time. The character got caught. He probably considers himself a big shot, controlling the whole situation here in one person. Watowicz got up from the table and immediately took out his cover ID. Greetings, I am an FBI agent, Tomas Borecki. Watowicz held out his hand, but the commander of the National Guard pretended not to notice it. He brought his hand to his temple and gave a short military greeting, a little dismissive. Commander of the 12th National Guard Company, Columbia County, Patrick Trifioli. Oh, so he's also an Italian. It's a wonderful day. It's clear. Sit down. Watowicz pointed to a chair for the man and peremptorily continued, I need specific information. Patrick Trifioli got all worked up. What do you mean, you need information? I don't obey the FBI. I'm in charge here. God, why would I do all this? Now just get up, smile, pat him on the shoulder, and then count all his teeth, stick a gun in his mouth to the throat, and make him talk. But no, not now, maybe later. Mr. Trifioli, you are subordinate to the U.S. government, which you have sworn to protect, aren't you? Yes, but I report directly to the operational headquarters in Washington. Your staff authorized me. Watowicz handed over the letterhead. Check it out. Literally 5 minutes later, the brave Patrick Trifioli, convinced that he was helping to solve another terrorism case, testified in detail, sitting opposite Watowicz. Such a jerk does not even need to slip a standard non-disclosure sheet after. He will be convinced that he did everything right and as needed. God bless America and her enterprising citizens of all nations and races. Well, except, and God bless them all. For the testimony of Patrick Trifioli, the bodies of 31 passengers were recovered from the wreckage. Severely disfigured, defragmented. According to the form, 6 crew members were identified. Explanation of the Analytical Department, draft. Trifioli is aware that there were initially 8 crew members on board. The co-pilot and the flight attendant could not be found. Trifioli put forward the theory that the terrorist who blew up the plane was the co-pilot. And after activating the explosive mechanism, he jumped out of the plane with a parachute and took the stewardess with him as a hostage. National Guard units, namely the 12th Company, are combing the forest. Well, seriously, the bottom line is the following. 1. 142 people plus 8 crew members were registered on the Zurich-Washington flight. 31 passengers were found and identified. This number includes 6 crew members. The co-pilot and one of the flight attendants disappeared. In addition, 119 passengers of different ages and genders disappeared without a trace. Lists are provided separately. 2. The debris on the starboard side was examined by employees of the scientific and technical department. The debris emits in the gamma spectrum, projects a radioactive and magnetic field, and the trace gradually dissipates. Based on the phenomenal circumstances, contact with an unidentified flying object is suspected. We recommend requesting the help of a curator. After returning from the crash site, Watowicz and Sanders were drinking coffee in the office. Sanders was eating Chinese noodles from a bag. "Can I order you a couple, John?" "No, I don't eat that shit." Sanders chuckled haughtily. "What is it about Patrick Triviali?" Sanders put the bag of noodles on the table, and Watowicz had to pull back his papers. "Look where you're putting it. What's there?" "Faster." "There is no need to worry about him. He is currently being treated for acute radiation sickness. In addition, his people suffered. Who and how many I do not know." "Radiation." "Well, yes, only our specialists think about what needs to be measured in time. And they don't have any special medicines." "Okay, fuck him. I didn't like him. What about the curator?" Sanders picked up the briefcase from the floor, opened it, and handed Watowicz a thin folder. Specific information was requested. In addition, fragments of debris that were directly penetrated were provided to the biocomputer for analysis. "Great, you're free for today. Be on time tomorrow morning. I'll need you. Let's go visit our smart guy." "Elon Musk?" Watowicz nodded and opened the folder, making it clear that the conversation was over. The first sheet contained general information and a list of questions that were transmitted to the biocomputer for the curator's consideration. The questions were obvious and well known. Watowicz was only interested in the answers. He quickly ran through the completed application form and found what he was looking for. From the analytical report of the staff interacting with the curator. Question: why did the crash happen? The curator's response: the crash occurred due to the failure of the electronic digital control system, engine failure, violation of the mental stability of the pilots. Question: for what reasons? The curator's response: due to the powerful induced psychokinetic radiation generated and concentrated in the light stream. Question: who did this? The curator's response: a civilization unknown to me. Its representatives do not have physical bodies, but they have minds. I feel something sinister and aggressive for you. Question: do they need biomaterial? The curator's response: probably. If your people disappeared without a trace, and this was preceded by a flash of light, then this civilization has the opportunity to convert biological substances into energy. Question: can these be manifestations of spiritual forces consisting of energy? What do we consider angels or other beings of the energy essence? The curator's response: I forbid you to seek contact with these creatures. I can feel their hostility. Question: can they be angels? The curator's response: I refuse to give the true answer. Watowicz read the report to the end and wrote on the title page, "The Angelic Starfall Project." There was a lot of work ahead. Watowicz put away the report and took out a bag of half-eaten cold noodles from a Chinese eatery from the table. He twisted it on a fork and brought it to his mouth. "It doesn't smell bad. You can order a couple more." If you think that this is not proof of the existence of aliens, then you are right. There is much more evidence, and on our channel we will reveal all the secrets and evidence of their presence. Subscribe to the channel and send me your stories related to aliens by email. You will find contacts in the About the Channel section. If I haven't answered you, then I'm still checking on you, because the special services of all countries have announced a hunt for me. But together we will force the authorities to disclose all the information they have. After all, people should know the truth.